Hello everyone, I'm Colin Peck and I am doing my first book review. I'm going to talk about this book called Katharine of Aragon. It's by Jean Plaidy and it's actually 3 books in one. They're all about Katharine of Aragon. She was Henry VIII's first wife. And the names of the books are called Katharine, the Virgin Widow, The Shadow of the Pomegranate, and The King's Secret Matter. The first book is about how Katharine came from Spain over to England, and she actually married Henry VIII's older brother, Arthur, before she married Henry. And Arthur died after about 6 months of them being married. So she was actually, after that, a widow for a while. And she was suffering from lack of money and lack of family. She missed her home. There's all kinds of problems and suffering she had to go through and during a long period after her first husband died. And finally, as Henry got older, he decided that he wanted to marry her, mainly because everybody told him that he couldn't, because she was the wife of his brother. And according to the Bible and teachings, that was not right. That was very sinful to marry your brother's wife. But technically, according to the law, they were never really married because they didn't consummate the marriage. So he decided he wanted to marry her. Basically, as I said, just because everybody told him that he couldn't. So that's what the second book is about their early life together. For a while, I think Henry actually did love her, and she definitely loved him. She definitely was in awe of him. He had that effect on a lot of people. And as their marriage progressed, though, she was unable to conceive a son. So he got very angry. I actually didn't know this, but Katharine had a lot of stillborn children. She gave birth many times, and she had lots of stillborn children. She only had one child that lived, and it was a girl. It was, her name was Mary. She was one of the rulers of England after Edward the IV. Edward VI, something like that, one of Henry's other children. But anyway, so he was angry that she couldn't conceive the heir that he wanted, and he started having affairs with people, and that's expected anyway. That's what I think of when I think of kings of that time. They all had affairs. Anyway, he started having affairs with people, and they gave him sons, and that made him even angrier because he couldn't even count them as an heir because they were illegitimate. And so that's what the second book is about, is their early marriage and how it progresses, and he becomes angrier and angrier at her, and she can't do anything about it. He blames her for not having a son, but it's not either of their faults. It just happens. So the last book is about Henry wanting to get a divorce from Catherine. But it's not as black and white as I had learned about in school. That's really what I love about this book, is because I learned so much more than I ever learned about Henry VIII in school. And he wasn't as black and white as I had thought. He actually dealt with his conscience a lot. Of course, the bad parts of his conscience won out, but still, he thought about stuff. The way he reasoned to make his decisions was kind of off. He didn't have his priorities straight. But he wanted to divorce Catherine because for the good of the country, he wanted to have a male heir. For the good of the country. I think he just was tired of her. And he was angry that he couldn't get a son, but he was saying it was because for the good of the country. So anyway, she was stubborn. She did not want to divorce him at all. But it was more than that. I can't really give a lot of it away if you're wanting to read this, because it would give too much away for you, but there was more to it than just he wanted a divorce. They had to go through hearings and had to try to get the Pope to say their marriage was false because she was actually married to his older brother, and things like that. And there were also other people involved who were trying to get him to divorce her and leave her. And she never gave up, though. She stuck to her beliefs that she knew that she was never actually married to Arthur. She knew that, and so she stuck by that. And mainly it was because she wanted to protect her daughter, Mary, because she was a rightful heir to the throne. But if Henry married somebody else, then Mary would be considered an illegitimate daughter. So she wanted to protect her. So this has a lot of romance in this, but also I learned a lot about this time period, and I think there's a book about every wife of Henry VIII. I hope there is. The last book of this collection talked about how Henry wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, and once he finally got to marry her, ironically, he only married her because of all the hassle it had gone through. He was already looking at somebody else. But you'll find that out at the end of this book. So, I really liked this. I like this author. I've read another book by her before about Charles II of France, and it was interesting too. I think one of her main themes is romance, though. This has a lot of romance, so it's definitely more for older readers, adults probably, or people in high school. Maybe junior high, just depends on how mature the person is. But anyway, I like this book, and I hope you read it, and I hope you find it as interesting as I did. Thank you. Have a good day.